It was an evening in March, 1997. Someone was pounding loudly on the door of a man's house. Outside, a girl's voice echoed, filled with excruciating pain, pleading for help. When the door was finally opened, the scene was something no one could ever forget. Standing there was a girl, her stomach gruesomely torn open, as if someone had slashed it, leaving her intestines exposed. One of her arms was completely severed, and on the other she wore a handcuff. Her name was Wendy. The man, horrified by what he saw, immediately called the police and summoned an ambulance. He didn't want Wendy to die, but he knew this was more than just an emergency. It was the beginning of a serious police case. After several days of treatment, the police questioned Wendy. That's when she revealed the dark truth about the Piggy Palace Parties. Piggy Palace wasn't just a place where pigs were kept for slaughter. It was a spot where mysterious parties were held. But these parties were far from normal. There were sinister activities happening there that the world had no clue about. Still, the police couldn't act solely on the word of one girl. They wanted to catch those responsible for these horrifying crimes in the act. So they came up with a clever plan. This is the story of two sinister brothers with a horrifying secret. They were infamous for their gruesome acts, taking the lives of young women and turning their bodies into strange, disturbing creations. From the remains, they would craft lipstick, and from the fat of their victims, they would make soap. This terrifying tale revolves around these two psychopathic brothers who, in the grip of madness, ruthlessly ended the lives of many innocent girls. The story is called The Horror of the Pig Farm, and trust me, by the end of this video, you'll know the chilling details of this horrifying incident. This is the kind of story that will keep you up at night. But before we dive in, here's a warning. If you have a weak heart or get scared easily, I strongly advise you not to watch this video at night. And definitely, keep young children away from this content. We'll soon uncover the intricate plan the police devised to catch the killer. But first, let's dive into the mystery of what Piggy Palace truly was. In Vancouver, Canada, young women had been disappearing from the east side at an alarming rate. These were women who were known for partying frequently and spending most of their time away from home. The one thing these girls had in common: no one was really asking about them. If they disappeared, it seemed as though no one cared. But why were they vanishing? Could their disappearance be linked to Wendy's case? As the police began their investigation, one detail stood out. All these women had attended Piggy Palace parties. To understand the true nature of these parties, we need to go back in time to the 1970s in Vancouver, where two brothers, Robert Picton and his sibling, lived on their family's pig farm. This farm, passed down through generations, was where their father and grandfather raised pigs, selling them to the local slaughterhouses. The farm was vast, housing hundreds of pigs. The brothers also had a younger sister, but as time passed, their parents died, and their sister got married and moved away. Left alone on the farm, the two brothers never married and grew increasingly lazy, uninterested in hard work. Instead, they indulged in a life of pleasure and excess. In their pursuit of an easy life, they sold the family farm and all the pigs in one fell swoop. This decision would lead to a dark chapter in their lives, but that's a story we'll uncover soon. The two brothers found themselves with a huge sum of money after selling their land, but they had no idea how to spend it. Along with the money, they still had Piggy Palace, a butcher house where they used to slaughter their pigs and sell the meat. Then they came up with a plan. They renovated the butcher house and turned it into a party venue. A place where youngsters could come, drink, and party. But there was something different about this place. The theme was kept eerily similar to the butcher house it once was. The hooks used to hang pigs, the bloodstains on the walls and floors, and the hanging pieces of meat remained untouched. This gave the venue a creepy, yet strangely attractive vibe. People lined up to party at this bizarre place. With all the money from selling their land, the brothers didn't need to work, and their party venue was running perfectly. That's how Piggy Palace began. But now, back in the present, when young women across Canada started disappearing, the police had their eyes on this infamous party spot. Wendy, the girl who survived the brutal attack, was questioned by the police. They needed to know what happened to her, who cut off her hand, and how she got the horrifying wound on her stomach. What Wendy revealed shocked the police. She explained that one of the brothers, Robert Pigton, had attacked her. However, she had a small knife hidden in her purse for self-defense, which she used to escape his clutches. She told the police that Robert had made her drink excessively, handcuffed her, and when she was unconscious, he started cutting into her stomach. As soon as Wendy regained consciousness, she seized the opportunity and attacked Robert, then made her escape. Her hands were still cuffed, so in a desperate move to free herself, she cut off one of her hands to escape Robert's clutches. Following her statement, the police arrested Robert and found the key to the handcuffs in his possession. However, since Robert had no criminal record, he claimed Wendy was a fraud. He said she had targeted him because he was wealthy, trying to trap him and steal from him. He admitted that he handcuffed her, but only to stop her until he could call the police. Just as he was about to do so, she attacked him with a knife and fled. Wendy told the police that these brothers would drug young women, take them to their butcher house and slaughter them like pigs, dismembering their bodies. She hinted at other horrific acts they did to these girls, but said, "I can't even mention them in this video." Yet the police found Wendy's story hard to believe. She had a notorious reputation, and her past made it difficult for anyone to trust her claims. On the other hand, Robert was a respected member of society, well-known and wealthy. But the police couldn't shake their suspicions, so they decided to take a different approach. They bribed one of Robert's workers, who revealed everything. Acting on this information, the police raided Piggy Palace, but to their frustration, they found nothing. The brothers appeared innocent, yet the police were convinced that something was wrong. These brothers were clever, and the police knew they were hiding something. Robert was arrested again, but only for a day. This, however, was part of the police's secret plan. They placed Robert in a solitary cell, and later they introduced another inmate, a man accused of murdering several women. The police hoped this would lead to a breakthrough. The criminal started chatting with Robert, building a friendship, and soon Robert confessed to all his crimes, unaware that there was a hidden camera in the cell, recording both audio and video. As Robert confessed his crimes, everything was being recorded. The criminal in the cell with him wasn't just any inmate. It was an undercover officer. This was all part of the police's plan. Following Robert's statements, the police launched a thorough investigation. What they discovered was horrifying. In the mud behind the pig farm, they found remains of over 30 missing women. Tiny fragments of bones, clothing, personal items like purses and IDs, all buried in the ground. Now, I'm about to reveal the most disturbing and terrifying part of this case, so brace yourself. When the police confronted Robert and his brother, they confessed to luring girls to their parties, drugging them, and then slaughtering them like animals in the butcher house. They cut the women into small pieces while they were still alive, making them suffer unimaginable pain. They would then sell the women's body parts to a rendering plant, which converted the fat and remains into gelatin. This gelatin was used in products like gummy bears and lipstick. Yes, you heard that right. The lipstick people were using was made from the remains of these women, the soap people were washing with, and the gummy bears children were eating. All were made from the bodies of women who had been brutally murdered. And the parts of the women's bodies that couldn't be used, they fed those to the pigs. The brothers had raised pigs specifically for this purpose, and the animals had become accustomed to eating human flesh. When the truth of this case came to light, the entire city was in shock. No one had any idea that such dangerous and psychotic criminals were living among them. If Wendy hadn't found the courage to escape and reach the police, the truth about the murders at the pig farm would have never been uncovered. The police would have never suspected the brothers. When I first began writing the script for this video, even I couldn't comprehend how any human being could commit such horrific acts. After a full investigation, the police determined that Robert was solely responsible for the disappearances of the women. He was arrested and sentenced to life in prison. By 2024, Robert was still in jail, but on May 19th, 2024, another inmate attacked him, and Robert Picton was killed. At 74 years old, he finally met a painful end, paying the price for his terrible crimes. So, be careful out there. Don't trust everyone, and definitely don't attend parties in suspicious places. If you're into dark content about conspiracies and serial killers, make sure to subscribe to this channel.